What are you doing, Jay?
Just thinking about my game. Oh, you get...
Adios, turd nuggets.
Damn, you gotta love that grandma's boy. Thanks, Marak, for that one. But welcome to episode 14 of the Virtual Fortress, where I talk about gaming memories and nostalgic adventures. I am your host, Jay Reed, aka the Virtual Wizard, and I want to start off by saying I'm not going by seasons anymore. I mean, I try to do something a little different with my podcast. I try to go, season 1, season 2, have like 10, 11 episodes for one season and then another for another season. But then I realized, like, this is not a TV show. This is not Seinfeld. This is not Smallville. So I'm just going to keep going. And however many episodes we reach, that's what we're going to do. So we're going to start with this. The Nike Air Mags from 1989's movie Back to the Future, the sneakers that Marty McFly wore in the movie. I came across a pair of those. Now, I'm not saying that they're real. I just saw someone on Facebook one day, scrolling through Facebook Marketplace, and I seen that they had a pair of them in the yellow box that they come in, and I was like, oh shit, I need to hop on this. And I was actually contemplating, like, should I get them or not? This person told me, they bought them for their nephew. It didn't fit their nephew. It was actually exactly my size. I'm a 10 and a half in sneakers, and this person sold it to me for $120. Now, it comes with a charger. It comes with a remote controller, which changes the lights on the kicks. These sneakers are freaking beautiful. When I tell you beautiful, I don't even care if they're real right now. I'm just a fan of Back to the Future. So I enjoy wearing them. Actually, what am I saying wearing them? I didn't even wear them yet. Yeah, those kicks have not touched my feet. Now, out of the whole trilogy, Back to the Future 2 is my favorite. So I am so glad that I own them. Now, this happened. I had to drive all the way to Dorchester to pick them up. Didn't want to do that, but I did it. I had to. I just had to. Really nice guy. When I met him, he told me, he has a pair too. He bought a pair for his nephew. He bought a pair for himself. Like I said before, didn't fit his nephew. They fit me. They are mine. They are displayed in my game room as we speak. Here and there, people come over. I show them, charge the sneakers up real quick and show them. I have not put my foot into that sneaker. I don't know. I'm kind of scared to. To me, that feel like this. They're so delicate, but that's one of these things in pop culture that I'm so glad that I own. Like I said before, he said he paid, I don't even know. I think he said he paid less than what they're actually worth. Now, I don't know. I could be wrong. I heard the actual real ones go for maybe from $15,000 to $90,000. I don't know the exact numbers. Not a mathematician. I don't know, but I don't have to be. I get it. But yeah, these kicks are ill. These kicks are sick. I'm staring at them right now. Like I said, I don't care if they're real. I believe they're probably replicas right now. I do. They do light up. But I don't know. Maybe one day I might pop up somewhere and just wear them. Nah. Who the fuck am I kidding? I probably won't even ever touch them again. I'm actually amped. I'm amped right now because, recently at work, I've been talking with one of my boys who was actually a guest on this podcast. a few episodes ago. His name is John Dalterio. We've been talking a lot about Resident Evil in general, just the whole Resident Evil series, and that really got me into getting back into the game and doing research about the game. And I'm actually gonna call him in a little bit, but I'm gonna save that for later. But yeah, he's supposed to be coming on the show pretty soon, and I can't wait for that. But yeah, just jumping back into the Resident Evil 2. It came out in January of actually this year. It's actually December of this year, 2019. My birthday actually passed a couple of days ago. I'm not one that really celebrates my birthday. I don't like the attention. I'm not that type of person. I appreciate everybody's hospitality and them being sweet, and but I'm a type of person that's like, I'm very easy to please. So it's like, but my brother Miraculous, who actually made the score for my podcast, him and one of my boys, Cliff, aka Callie, took me out for my birthday, and I had no idea what they had planned, and we actually went to a bar slash arcade that I've never been to in my life. It's in Boston, located in Boston. It's called Versus. And the thing about that was, when we went, it's actually just $5 to get in, but when you get stamped and you get a wristband, you actually go in and they have an arcade, and all the games are free. They're free. And I was like, oh, that's crazy. So and also, when you play at the bar, there's like big screen TVs at the bar. You can just play. I had a little rivalry with a guy in Tekken 7 a few nights ago. So he beat me. He said I was a worthy opponent, so I'm really happy with that. But this place was dope. It had one of these games that I talked about in a previous episode, I believe, with my brother. It did have NFL Blitz. Like, NFL Blitz is probably top 5 arcade cabinets. If you don't know, one of my top favorite arcade cabinets. And I was playing it, and I was like, yo, it just brought me back. And the thing about that is, like, I haven't played it since I don't know, the 90s. Like, I have Blitz for PlayStation, and I have but the nostalgic feel of just throwing a Hail Mary with the joystick and just being in front of the arcade cabinet, it's really special. And when I saw that, I was like, wow, I can't believe this is actually here. So I played it with my friend Cliff, and we actually went to a triple overtime. Now, my friend Cliff, he's a football fanatic. I am not. I've mentioned that before. I'm from Boston, born and raised in Cambridge, but I'm a Patriots fan. But I honestly, I'm gonna be straight up honest. Like, I could care less about football. Honestly, like, long as the Patriots win, that's great. But like, I'm not like a diehard, gotta go to, Sunday nachos, and all that, but if I'm invited to a Super Bowl party or something like that, I'm going. But anyways, getting distracted here. But like I said, the NFL Blitz cabinet, we went to a triple overtime game, and like I've never really been good at that game. I've been decent. The computer would always kill me, but this time I actually had we had a great game. So that actually just put a stamp on my love for the game. Like, it's one thing when you love a game and you suck at it, but it's another thing when you love a game and you have a great game, or you survive the longest or something like that in the game. So I'm really proud of that. I'm actually happy that happened this weekend, and it was it was a birthday weekend that I won't forget. Turned 32. So, the older I get, the more games I get, and the more nostalgic, and I don't know. I'm just happy that I got to play that game again. Now I want to get into something that I recently started. This was probably just about a month ago. I actually, and shout out to Retro and Rare podcast. It was a great idea, Mikey Retro. What's up? Shout out. But I started doing polls for video games just to see people's reactions and what they like best, and in their memories and their gaming memories. And the results were actually pretty crazy. So basically I'm gonna go over probably like maybe 5, 6, max 7. Could be 10, depending on how good it goes. But I did this a while ago. A lot of you that answered out there, I appreciate you guys doing that. I love the reactions from you guys out there. So here we go. So what I started was either Street Fighter 2 Special Champion Edition for the Sega Genesis, which is the better version, that or Street Fighter 2 for the Super Nintendo. And wow, actually surprisingly, Street Fighter Champion Edition won for the Sega Genesis. That was the game that I actually begged my grandmother for back in the day. In another episode, I talked with one of my boys, Paul, about how I told my grandmother she can write a check, and I didn't know how checkbooks worked, and that was the game I begged her for. But I do love both ports, but I guess, hey, this one's the better one in all you guys' eyes. Moving forward, let's see. I wrote better memories. Which console gave you the better memories? Nintendo 64 or the PS1, PlayStation? Let's see. Nintendo 64 smashed the PlayStation with 70% for the Nintendo 64 to 30% of the PlayStation 1. That's very surprising to me because I was a PlayStation fan. I love Nintendo 64, but me and my brother were PlayStation fans. We were ride or dies for that. We killed the demos and all that. But it's weird because honestly, it was surprising, but I do think that probably me and my brother had better memories for the Nintendo 64 with WCW Revenge, WWF No Mercy, WWF WrestleMania 2000, just a whole bunch of GoldenEye, Conker's Bad Fur Day. Those were games that really stuck with us, and we played a lot of PlayStation as well, but it's we really connected as brothers during that time. So it's I can understand why y'all out there people chose that one. Moving on, let's see, Double Dragon for the NES or the sequel, Double Dragon 2, The Revenge. It's no question my favorite's Double Dragon, The Revenge. I'm a huge fan of The Revenge. I love that game. DD2 won 56% over 44%. I love both games. Growing up, I was always Jimmy Lee, and my brother was always Billy Lee, and we always thought that Billy was the older brother, the blue one was always the older one than the red one. So that's why we always connected. But come to find out, when we got older, that wasn't the case. Jimmy was older, so I felt good about that. Pumped my chest out a little bit. But moving on, let's see. We got Metal Slug Advance for the Game Boy Advance to battle Contra Advanced, Alien Wars EX for the Game Boy Advance. Contra smashed Metal Slug 62% to 38%. I'm a Contra fan. That kind of hurt me. I'm a big Metal Slug fan. I never forget the first time I seen Metal Slug. I'll save that for another episode, but we're just gonna keep it moving. Let's see. Wow, Game Boy or Game Gear. We had a Game Boy with led everything just about with 80% against Game Gear with 20%. I never owned a Game Gear. I never owned one. I do now. I just bought one, which I have to get fixed though. But I 100% agree with that. Game Boy was my life. You know, I love those games. Dr. Mario, I hated that game at first, but Super Mario Land 2 and the 6 golden coins, Metroid, like all those games, like Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, the Foot Clan, I believe the game's called, the Sewer, I forgot what it was called, but that was my shit. And we got one at a flea market back in 92 with my grandmother. But moving on, let's see. Oh, this is a good one. Actually, it's not a good one. It's freaking should obviously, it makes sense. But Halo for the original Xbox or Second Sight for the original Xbox. And Halo killed Second Sight with 89% to 11%. Now, Halo, wow. My friend Greg put me onto Halo for the first time, and I was like, what the hell is a Halo? Like, and he told me about the Warthog, and he invited me over his house, and we played it together, and like it was just magical, just being able to tag team and ride together and Master Chief and all that. Like, I'll never forget those moments. But like Second Sight, like I've probably played it maybe once or twice. It's good. It's a good game, but it's like it just doesn't compare to Halo. Let's see. Wow, this is a great one. SmackDown, and I just talked about one of these games too before. SmackDown for PlayStation or WrestleMania 2000 for Nintendo 64. I loved both of those games. I never forget being in 7th or 8th grade and asking my friend Chris to borrow that game, and he was a nice kid. I still talk to him to this day. He was a very nice kid, very generous. He was the only child, and he had mad games, and I always was like kind of jealous of that because he was the only child and he got all the games he wanted. But yeah, he let me borrow SmackDown. I'll never forget, and I was in love with that game. But nothing compares to WrestleMania 2000 for Nintendo 64. That game was, I'll never forget going to Bradley's with my brother and my grandmother, and we're getting that game. I think we had it on layaway as well. But that game was amazing. It's just like, oh my gosh. Well, right now it doesn't seem so well, but the graphics were dope. I think so. But I'll never forget playing WrestleMania 2000, with my brother. Moving on, let's see. We got NBA Jam or NBA 2K. Now, 2K is a great franchise. It is. It really is. I love 2K, even from the beginning. But NBA Jam, the percentage was 67 for NBA Jam to 33% for NBA 2K, which, speaks for itself. I mean, NBA Jam is always a classic. When you think about basketball arcade games, you go straight for that game. Yeah, I'll never forget playing that too. Boom shakalaka, all that. The nail in the coffin, head fake. Yeah, and being able to be Bill Clinton and yeah, I'll never forget that. But those I can't disagree with that. I love Dreamcast. And I love NBA 2K for Dreamcast. I said that in my other episode when the first time that I saw Dreamcast and NBA 2K. But yeah, I mean I can't disagree with NBA Jam. Let's see. We can do 3 more. Why not? Let's do 3 more. I want to say this is a tough one, but it's kind of not a tough one. But let's see. We have Mortal Kombat for Sega Genesis, Blood version, with 67% against Tekken for the original PlayStation with 33%. I completely agree with that. But at the same time, I got to give Tekken its props, because like I'm not gonna sit here and be like Tekken was whack, yeah. But I want to say Mortal Kombat made probably a bigger impact in pop culture because it was a huge game. Nobody ever seen anything like that. And but Tekken is a great game as well, and I will never turn my back on Tekken. But in that category, you lost. 2 more. Let's see. We'll do 2 more. Let's see. Okay. Here we go. We got Sonic the Hedgehog for Sega Genesis against Sonic 2, the second one. We have Sonic 1 for 33% against Sonic 2, 67%. I totally agree with that. I love Sonic 1, but Sonic 2 will always be at least my top 10. If not top 10, top 5 favorite games. Sonic, the chemical plant, Green Hill Zone, like all that is amazing. The music, everything is like, I cannot disagree with anything. Like all that, like that game is amazing. Sonic 1 is dope, but like Sonic 2, yeah, you can't go wrong with that. And I'm excited for the movie too. Hopefully it's a great movie. I'm not going to sit here and be a fanboy and be like every single video game movie that they ever come out with is going to be amazing, because they've let us down so many times with Super Mario Brothers and Street Fighter and Double Dragon. Like those movies, like as a kid those movies were great, but like as a grown adult, I'm seeing like how bad they were. The only movie that probably, and also Mortal Kombat Annihilation was pretty bad too, but the only movie that was actually held up was like the original Mortal Kombat movie. I still like that movie to this day, and I think that probably my favorite movie depicted from a video game, which had an episode about that a long time ago. I think it's the best movie. Let's see. We'll do 1 more. Yo, this one that I see right here is very, very, very weird. Now, I did this expecting a certain game to win, and the people that voted for it weren't having it. And these games are very good, but one of the games is actually harder than the other. And I was in shock. I did not expect this to happen. But let's see. I did Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 2, the arcade game for NES, against Battletoads, and Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles won with 86%, going against Battletoads for 14%. Like, I get it. People love Turtles. Not many people love or know about Battletoads, but like, my God, I really thought it was going to be like at least 50-50, but it wasn't. 86% to 14%. Now, this is going from the original arcade version, 1989 version, which is converted to the NES version, which is lower on graphics. You can never beat the 1989 arcade cabinet, which I own, and I'm very proud of that, by the way. But Battletoads wasn't that bad. Like, Battletoads was great. Now, I'm not saying that people said that like it was bad. People just prefer the turtles instead of the toads. But I can't hate on that. Like, I probably don't think that I've ever beat Battletoads in my life. Like, one of my favorite games ever was Battletoads versus Double Dragon, and I'll never forget getting that at Funkoland from my aunt and begging her for that, and her getting it from me and my brother, and we were killing that game. And I'll never forget at the time, we were going to the movies to see the Robin Williams movie and Nathan Lane movie, The Birdcage. And I don't know why she took us to see that, but she took us to see that, and that same day she bought my brother and I Battletoads vs. Double Dragon for Super Nintendo, and I'll never forget that. And I'll never forget being in the theaters, not understanding the whole Birdcage plot, and I'm like, okay, I don't get this, but I just want to go home and play Battletoads and Double Dragon. But I do love Battletoads, I do love Double Dragon, and I do love Ninja Turtles, but like, jeez, they ain't gotta kill it like that. But I will definitely do more polls in the future and reviewing them as well with other guests on the show. So do not worry. Do not be alarmed. We will continue that. And I once again appreciate everybody out there for voting. It really means a lot to me from the bottom of my heart. And I actually want to thank everyone out there who actually, supported this podcast. I'm not saying I have a huge following. I'm not, Cardi B or anything like that. I'm not, huge like that. But it really means a lot to me making people out there happy. And it's not just about video games. It's just about gaming memories and, just making sure that I remind people in the world, like, people play video games, There's memories out there, like, for everyone. And there's certain things that I can't remember in my life, but I remember a certain video game that was out at the time, and I went to the mall to do, or whatever the story is, and like, it helps me remember. So I'm just glad that I get to bring the nostalgia to people's lives. So it's like, the video games are great, but it's not just about the video games. It's about touching people in their hearts and bringing them back to the past and where they were in their lives at the time when they were gaming. And that makes me feel good. So, I mean, right now it's around Christmas time for giving, time for sharing, time for family, time for, whatever. But, yo.
What's up, Jay Reed?
Yo, Johnny Quest, what's good, bro? How you doing, man?
Not bad. How are you doing?
Nah, I'm good. Just want to let you know that you are live on the Virtual Fortress episode 14. And I'm glad to chop it up with you, man, about some games, bro.
Heck yeah. Excited?
Yeah. I got your messages about what you wanted to talk about. So, like, I guess explain to people out there in podcast land what you meant by you said you want to build. You're into building theme decked MTG. Explain to me what that actually is.
Yeah. So I've been into Magic the Gathering for like over 10 years, probably longer even. I started playing when I was like 13, and I took a lot of breaks here and there. I've always been playing video games and watching movies, obviously, but I recently got back into the card games because of some of my separate jobs that I'm doing, and I've started to want more from the game than just like compete and win. I've been having a lot of fun building decks that are based on themes or based on movies or other things that I care about. So I built two decks based around Harry Potter. One is based on Expecto Patronum, and the other one is on Avada Kedavra, which is the ultimate kill spell in Harry Potter. One hit from that and you're dead. And it makes the game fun again. Nostalgia is a theme that I think we both have in common in terms of like the things that we care about and the things that we do. So I figured I would just kind of talk about that for a little bit.
Yeah. Of course, man. Yo, the floor is yours. I'm interested to see or to hear about what you have about this Resident Evil deck you've been building. That was like, that's crazy. Not building, but like your ideas for it. If you have any ideas, but like, I'd love to hear them.
Yeah, well, I just started thinking about it. I just finished a new themed deck based on Howl's Moving Castle, which is like one of my favorite Studio Ghibli Hayao Miyazaki films ever. And that was really well received. A lot of people were interested in it, so I want to keep the momentum going. And, I search or I find inspiration in the things that I'm doing right now. And right now I'm playing the Resident Evil 2 remake, thanks in part to you. Thanks for getting that for me, Brett.
Nah, no problem, man. Tis the season to be jolly, is what I would say.
Okay.
But yeah. I figured that John's a good friend of mine, so I was like, yo, we've been talking about Resident Evil, like I mentioned earlier in this episode. So I figured, like, I just go down to the Target and just grab it for him, because I was thinking about him when I got it. So I was like, yo, I played it, I enjoyed it, so I want him to enjoy it too. So grabbed it for him, and like he's been having a blast playing it. Yeah, and we're gonna review it actually in another episode, but so hang tight out there. But yeah, I just I just want to hear that what he's been working on, and what other topics he might want to talk about, because I'm not sure if he has enough. He might not have enough time, but yeah.
Well, I can talk about Resident Evil a little bit, because
go ahead.
I'm obsessed with it.
Yeah. Of course. Yo, what you've been doing in Resident Evil? I know we talked about it at work, but I'm still amped, of course. I mentioned earlier that like I've been looking at, because of you, I've been looking at reviews of all the past Resident Evils, because like obviously Resident Evil's part of our childhood as well, and like I kind of felt like I got lost in Resident Evil. Like I kind of shoved it aside, and I didn't really. I always love it, but there's so many chapters and so many different type of games. Like I'm just like, I love it, but I kind of just shoved it aside, like I said before. And like when we started talking about it again, I was like, wow, like this is really bringing back a lot. Like I think I might want to start looking up stuff. So I just been looking at reviews and stuff like that, and yeah. So I want to hear your thoughts on RE2 remake so far. What you've got?
First of all, it's amazing. It's actually up for Game of the Year from IGN right now, in like 6 or 7 other games, I think.
Yes,
I totally get why. I was up until like probably 2 a.m. when I should have been asleep by 11 last night playing this game.
Yeah, you're right.
I was fighting, spoiler alert, I was trying to get past the third encounter with William Birkin, playing as Claire in Scenario A. And I like to play Resident Evil, some people like to like run around the zombies, and they like to bait them out. And when they lunge for you, run around them. And that's cool. I appreciate that. I respect that. I like to blow zombies' heads up, though. That's what I'm doing.
Same here.
It's so satisfying. So when I finally get to William Birkin Part 3, I had like no ammo, and the only way to beat him is by shooting like the eyeballs that pop up on his body until he falls over, and then his weak point is revealed. It's kind of like the same strategy for a lot of the great Resident Evil bosses across all different games.
Right.
Like hit the weak points until the weakest point is revealed, and then go ham. But so I get to this third fight with William Birkin, and I had like no ammo for anything except for the handgun that you start with. But I had like a shitload of ammo for it. I had like 200 rounds. So I'm sitting there, and I'm like, I wish I had like a rocket launcher, or I wish I had more ammo for the grenade launcher, or even just a grenade. But I'm sitting there like running in circles, just like trying to shoot this dude with this puny handgun, and just getting marked every single time. I must have been trying to beat him for like an hour, but I couldn't put the game down because I was so enthralled by it. Like everything has led up I think I played it for like 8 or 9 hours. All of those 9 hours have led up to that moment, and there was no way I was going to be able to fall asleep unless I beat him. And
Wow.
when I finally beat him, it was great. You actually have to fight him a 4th time, double spoiler alert, but you have a minigun for that fight. That was dope. And when I finished, I was like, the game has a lot of replayability. There's scenario A and B for both characters, plus all the extra missions. But I had to take a break from the run and gun action because I'm still into Magic. I kind of been alternating between the two for the past week or so. And so I'm starting to build a zombie deck based on Resident Evil. And the trick is really, with all of these themed Magic the Gathering decks, like creating an identity through the sequencing and collection of cards. And that's something we can go more into in the longer form podcast, but it's in the works right now. So I'll have 2 Harry Potter decks, one based on Howl's Moving Castle, and then one based on Resident Evil. And
Wow.
I'm super excited for that because I have no idea what the shape is going to take, like what it's going to look like when I'm done, but I know that it's going to be pretty dastardly. I don't know if there's a better word for it.
Hey, that's great word. Yo, you know what? That's funny because like I had no idea you were doing that. And like, now that I'm hearing about this, I'm actually getting chills right now because I had no idea you were building a Resident Evil deck. That's crazy. Like, I mean, I've played not Magic the Gathering, but Dungeons and Dragons with you, and your mind is just like out there. And I'm saying that in a good way, a positive way. Like, you know how to tell a story. Me, I get lucky if I tell a great story, but it's like I feel, because like I don't like to hear myself talk, but when I've played D&D with you, it's just been like, geez, like this dude, like, and I'm not even playing the game like trying to, I'm trying to like impress you, I'm like, hope I I hope I do the right thing, or like I hope John doesn't get mad that I like just make up some stuff, I'm like, I'm just like hope yeah, I'm always like just trying to make sure like I'm in the same lane with you, because you're very talented, like you're a great you're a great speaker, you're a great writer, you're a great, your mind is like, I don't even know, you out in the ozone layer, man. But
thanks, man. I appreciate it.
Nah, no problem. But it's like, yeah, now I'm excited because like I don't think I've ever played MTG, but it's like I think I'm very excited to play a Resident Evil version of Magic the Gathering, and I'm so glad that you brought that up, because like I can't wait to get into more details tomorrow at work about it.
Oh yeah.
But
yeah, I think that sort of thing will help people who don't normally play the card game give it a shot. And that's something that I'm really interested to, is like crossing communities. Like, there were someone on Reddit, I posted my Howl's Moving Castle deck on Reddit, and somebody posted in the comments that they were going to make it for their wife. And they were also very interested in the Harry Potter decks because they both love the movie. So I was like, oh, it's not only like obsessively and oddly made this thing that I care about, but it means something to somebody else too. So that's definitely like a source of motivation to keep going. And it's kind of the same thing with D&D. It's like, what I want to do is to give somebody else a great experience through storytelling. And I've always thought of myself as not a good storyteller. Like, all up until maybe 4 or 5 years ago, I would tell stories in a disjointed manner. My thoughts would be so scattered. And only recently, now that I'm almost like 30, really do I feel like I've gotten a handle over my own like weird imagination. And yeah, if I can use it, first of all, I feed it with games like Resident Evil. Like, now that's all I can think about is zombie stuff. But if I can make something that makes other people happy, then absolutely.
Well,
that's what I'm all about.
Well, I appreciate your creativity, and damn well that's gonna make me happy. I can't wait to hear that. Like, I'm really upset that like I can't express how I want to express and like do front flips right now, but we'll talk about it tomorrow. But moving on to the next topic, we actually want to talk about like, what games. Oh, since it's the Christmas time, Christmas season. Christmas is the season to give and receive. But what game should people be getting their loved ones this year? I mean, shoot, man, if you got something. I was thinking hard, but if you have a game that people should be getting their loved ones for this holiday season, sure, let me know. I think I can come up with one by the time you're done.
Yeah, well, I mean, I think for people our age who have been gamers for a while, it really doesn't get better than Resident Evil 2. And I'm not just saying that because I can't think of another game. It's really been just an amazing experience seeing like the updated graphics and just reliving my childhood through like similar set pieces, but also being surprised because some things are slightly new and different. But then it really depends on the person. I mean, like, you could get somebody hooked on Dark Souls, for example, by getting in the first one, and then for the next 3 or 4 months, if not longer, they'll just be obsessed with that kind of game, probably.
Yeah.
And a kind of spiritual successor to that is Sekiro Shadows Die Twice, which is also incidentally up for Game of the from IGN as well.
Is it? Wow.
Yeah.
I've been meaning to get that game. I don't mean to cut you off, but like I've been meaning to get that game. I know it came out like in March or so, but like I was kind of like, what is the big hype of this game? And I've seen some gameplay videos, and I'm like, wow, this is like amazing. And I still haven't played it, but I think I might pick it up because this is.
Yeah, I mean, hey, maybe that's what you get this holiday season is Sekiro. I think the mechanics and the atmosphere are the big draw. Like I haven't played it, but I've seen a lot of the gameplay footage, and it just looks like a pleasure to play. It looks challenging, but it looks like something that you can really master. You play longer and longer on like harder difficulties and stuff like that. So it's like rewarding.
Wow, those are two amazing games. I mean, I didn't even think you were gonna pick that. Like I was gonna say, like, okay, I hope he doesn't pick Resident Evil 2, but like, you know, it's a great game. But for me, I would probably say like, and I'm gonna pick a game that like I have not played. I've seen the anticipation of this game. I still have not played it. I'm gonna say Shenmue 3.
Oh my gosh, Shenmue! Oh, what a great call that is.
Yeah,
talk about nostalgia.
Yeah. Like I've never played it. I have not played it. I've played 1, I've played 2, but 3 I have not seen any gameplay. I have not looked up any gameplay. I've seen like thumbnails of like videos reviewing it, and I have not touched them. I don't know why. It's just something that I'm like, I feel like something just tell me just don't look at it yet. Don't look at anything about it yet.
Don't spoil it for yourself.
Yeah, but if you're a nostalgic fan, like Dreamcast, Shenmue, and for the original Xbox, Shenmue 2 is available. Yeah, I'd say pick up those two, but like I have not played Shenmue 3, but you know, if you are a fan of those, I'd say get the greatest gift will be to get that game. I'm pretty sure it's come on, I'm pretty sure it's not a letdown. It's not a letdown.
Yeah.
No.
And it's such an original game. It's like it really pioneered a lot of different conventions in games that we kind of take for granted now, which is like just like the high interactivity of the world. I'm thinking about Shenmue 2 specifically. The changing from different game modes, being like a one-on-one fight or a group fight, and then you can just be exploring and doing quests, and I don't know, it's so charming too, like the setting, the atmosphere, the dialogue, the character himself. It's rich. That's a great pick. I didn't think of that.
That's a great word you said, rich. That's a word I was looking for, something like rich, but like you know. Part 1, he's avenging his father's death, I believe, and part 2, you know, is a very vague memory that I have of that game, but I do remember it being very interactive and being very good. But 3 I have not picked up, but I plan to. You know, I'm in the middle of like playing a whole bunch of games right now. that I don't want to get into right now. We'll get into that in other episodes. But the last thing that John wanted to talk about was, and I don't really usually do this. I don't know if John does it either, but like I'm not really into New Year's resolutions. And I feel and I believe that, whatever happens or whatever you do in your life, you can change at the moment. You don't have to wait to the next year. So that's not a knock on you or anybody else. It's just that's just what I do. But like if I want to, start going to the gym, I'm going to do it now. I'm not going to do it starting 2020. You know what I mean? But for gaming, I did look at the question that you sent me, and I was like thinking about it, and I was like, wow, what do I want to change for gaming? And that's okay. For me, I wanted to start actually really getting down to the nitty gritty of like RPG games. I feel like I've brushed them aside for a long time. There are RPG games that I do love, Final Fantasy and stuff like that. But it's like over the years, I felt like I've been more like just looking for action, like, run and gun and stuff like that. And like, I really need something very more slow paced and something that allows me to, expand my mind and, go grab potions and stuff like that. And just, I haven't done that since probably the, Pokemon Red version for the Game Boy, original Game Boy.
Oh, yeah.
And
what a great RPG Pokemon is, though. Can I just say for a moment?
No, yeah, of course. Like
that is like the hallmark trait for a great RPG for me is the amount of like time that you can invest in it. That's really what I look to RPGs for. Is like how much time can I escape from reality and sink into this game? And Final Fantasy, absolutely. Like I must have spent probably over like years of my life playing that game. Those games from 7. Even from 6 or 5 to 15. But Pokemon got me through so many difficult patches in my life. Like high school was miserable. I went to a trade school and I hated the craft that I chose. And I was like trying to figure out how to get the time to go by faster. And so I snuck my Game Boy in to my shop class and I hid it in my drawer. And whenever the shop teacher left, I would pull out Pokemon and I'd start playing it. And at first I got made fun of. Like everyone's like, Pokemon, like this was like 9 years after it like ran its course initially when the show came out and the first couple editions came out. But then slowly people saw that I was having a good time, and then I started to tell them, I'm like, it's not just Pokemon, guys, it's like a dope RPG. There's so much character building and there's like world exploring and things like that you can do. And then slowly but surely, like 3 or 4 other people started bringing their Game Boys and they had Pokemon. And then we got to trading, and it was just great. It was a great high school experience, actually, because of Pokemon.
Yeah.
That's what I love about RPGs, man. They just, like, I don't know, they're a time sink, but it feels like the investment that you're putting in them pays off.
Yeah, like, I'm so happy to hear that. Like, I didn't have a great experience with Pokemon because my grandmother burned all my cards when I was, like, when I was, like, 10 or 11, Yeah, it was a big thing. Like she was, into the church and stuff like that, and like she, the whole thing. Like don't have any, don't worship any other idol or anything like that. And I guess Pokemon was that to her, so she burned out my cards. But
that's hardcore for her, and that's like traumatic for you. I bet that's hard, bro.
Nah, it was. I had the only thing that hurt me was I had a ton of holographics. Not the greatest ones, but like I did have a lot of holographics, and like that hurt me. But
did you have Charizard?
No, I did not have Charizard. Definitely not. I think I had like a Machamp or something like that. I was in the beginning of my collection. Like I was getting lucky. I was finding like, like I found a Machamp holographic at Target. I'll never forget. Or was it Bradley's at the time? It was probably Yeah, probably Target or Bradley's, and like I was like amped. I was like, okay,
gosh, Bradley.
yeah, remember that story? Yeah, and I was like, oh, this is legit. And then I'll never forget, I had a Pokemon card book, and it was all black. And I'll never forget, I wrote in whiteout like Pokemon, Joran's Pokemon in whiteout, and she found in, you know, and I've never seen it again. But I'll explain more in another episode. But what game?
Yeah, that's a whole episode in itself.
Of course. But what do you think for a New Year's resolution? I'm not sure if you do it or not. What do you want to, like? I don't want to say change, but what do you want to, you know, start doing? Expand your mind. What type of games do you want to start playing that you have been lacking or have not been playing at all?
Wow, that's a really hard question, but I love it. I want to get back into racing games, actually. I remember when I first got
that's a great
Xbox, regular, like straight up Xbox with a giant controller. It came with Sega GT. And I was like, yeah, this, you know, the games that come with the console, you never really play at first. You always play the ones that you buy. You buy the Xbox to buy a game to play. But it came with Sega GT and Jet Set Radio Future, and I think I bought like Fable or something else. Bought Xbox to play that game, and then I crushed Fable. And I was, what the hell am I going to do now? I had like no money because I was like 14 or something. Yeah. So I was like, I guess I'll play one of these games. And oh my god, bro! First of all, Jet Set Radio Future like changed my life. That soundtrack, the gameplay, the style, the graffiti. I was like, it had such an impact on my identity. Like I got really like bad cartoonish tattoos after that, and I started doing graffiti myself. And I was not rollerblading because that was lame in my area. I was skateboarding, but the vibe was still the same. And after that, after I crushed that game, which took me forever. Sega GT I must have spent actually the most time in because it was such a tight racing game. The controls were amazing. All the different cars that you could have and the customization options gave it so much replayability. And like trying to get the perfect route through a particular track and then ghost racing your own best time, like following your ghost car and trying to beat yourself was really cool and unique. And since then I haven't really touched racing games, but they are just so like visceral and satisfying. Did you ever have? Let me ask you this: did you ever have that? I guess it was kind of gimmicky, but it was also awesome. It was like a controller that was a steering wheel, and it had the floor pad that had the brake and the gas, and you could use to play certain like racing games, like on the N64 or something like that.
Not for the N64, but I did have it for Xbox 360. I did have, and the funny thing about that is that's I used it. I didn't use it for a racing game. I used it for Grand Theft Auto 4. Yeah, and I used it for that, and I was really trying to like, because I didn't have my license at the time either. So it was like, I was probably like maybe 19 or something like that. And I was just like using Grand Theft Auto, and I was like, I changed the view, and I really want to learn to drive and like get my own car and stuff like that. So like I used that as like motivation to learn how to drive and just to dodge pedestrians and stuff like that. And really actually like wait.
Like that in real life?
Oh no. I feel like I'm a good driver, but like I like there was this point was like people would get very like anxious and just, you know, just drive, run over people. You got to get what you got to get, do the mission. But like I was like, let me stop at the red lights. Okay, this old person's crossing the street. Let me actually do that. And it was killing me, but I was like, I gotta learn this type of physics. So like, you know, and I feel like I give credit to Grand Theft Auto 4 for teaching me how to drive. So
I love that, and I also kind of did the same thing. I don't think I could play Grand Theft Auto like that, but there was a time where I got sick of like hitting prostitutes on purpose or by accident. like robbing banks and like shooting pedestrians. Like I was like, you know what? I'm gonna play by the rules in this game. That's like the antithesis of how you're supposed to play it. And I was like, yeah,
Right.
I'm gonna stop at this red light.
Yeah, it's tough. It taught you like control, and like it taught you like how to live in the real world instead of just running over people. But it's funny how you mentioned. It's funny how you mentioned Sega GT and the Jet Grand Radio, was it? Because it actually made my heart drop. I actually own a demo which had, and it's in my video game inventory right now, and it actually has both of those games in one demo. So next time you come here, we gotta play it. That's so.
I think that's what I had.
Was that it? Yeah, I think that was it, because like I know exactly what you're talking about. It's Sega GT, and it has a Jet Grand Radio type of game, and it's in the cover is like, it's like slit. It has both games. So and I
have that.
yeah, and I own that. So we definitely got to play that next time you come through. Yeah.
One more thing about one more thing about the steering wheel and pedals controller, especially in Grand Theft Auto. What you can still control the character when you're not in the car and like running around like with the steering wheel and gas pedals, but as a human character and shooting people with the gas or something was the funniest and weirdest thing you could probably do with that controller.
Yeah, because it had the B, Y, A, X. It still had all that stuff, but it's like
you could beat the whole game with the steering wheel and gas pedals, never getting in a car one time.
Right. Now, whoever did that was a G, because that's, I don't know, I couldn't do that. I was just like, but that's crazy. But
maybe we should maybe that's a video we should make. 1 million views on YouTube.
Yeah, I'm with it. But you know, I really appreciate you coming on and shooting the shit with me for half an hour or so. John is gonna be the next guest on the next episode, and we're gonna get into the bread and butter, or the meat and potatoes, as I should say, about what we really want to talk about. Not that we don't want to talk about this stuff, but like this is a great conversation. But like what we've been talking about at work, we're definitely gonna like get into it on the next episode. So yeah, appreciate you coming on, Johnny Cage, and yeah, man.
Thanks for having me on, Jay Reed. It's a pleasure to be able to do this over the phone. I would do one of these every day if I could. It's so much fun to be on these podcasts and just like relive my childhood and just get that like hit of nostalgia by talking about these things with you, man. It's like, it's great, It's really fun.
Nah, it's amazing, man. Like, I'm glad you can come on, but like, obviously take care of yourself. Hey, and obviously text me some stuff after the podcast, because I want to see what else you've been doing on Leon's story mode, because I know you're gonna be playing it tonight, hopefully.
Oh yeah. Like as soon as we hang up.
yeah. Let me know, man. Text me ASAP, yo.
I will, my bro.
All right, man. Be safe. Love you, bro.
Love you, man. Talk to you soon.
All right. Peace.
Bye.
Oh, you can. Like the burger.
Adios, turd nuggets.